Hello, hi Sandra, welcome to this interview on selling art online. I am very excited about today and I am loving interviewing several different artists who have different practices and different experiences when it comes to selling art online. So this is part of a series of interviews and I cannot wait to learn more about your experience today, Sandra. So I have several questions for you, as you know, and they're all quite related to selling art online. Before we get started, actually, I just wanted to ask you if you could introduce yourself and if you could introduce your art practice. And actually, before you do so, I just wanted to thank you for preparing this beautiful background with your paintings, because it really helps with seeing, with learning about what you are creating.
Good morning, Gabriela. Well, I'm very pleased to be here. And I think the whole point of being part of the Artist Entrepreneur Club is that we exchange tips and advice, and we're all very friendly with each other, but very, very practical. And your work there is really fantastic. So if I can share some ideas, I'll do it gladly. Yeah. So first of all, I'm Sandra Menant. And I started painting when I had to stop my work as a teacher because I was given a sabbatical following a big family trauma for a few years. And this didn't exist before in the French system. And so I had 6 months of teaching and I started to paint as a therapy without being conscious of it at all. So it came from the trop-plein of emotions, right. And I've heard a lot about art therapy afterwards. Yeah. And when I paint in a very mindful manner where everything is really thought through and instinctive at the same time, which is an interesting combination. Yeah. So consequently, I stopped my teaching career in 2016. And because I was struggling to do both, I was part-time artist, part-time teacher for a few years. And I was very surprised that when I started to join the open studio in Wandsworth, because that's where I'm based, with 18 other artists locally and 185 for the whole borough, when I opened my house and visitors came, they started buying paintings, which I hadn't thought of painting for anyone else or any other criteria. And overall, the first few years, I sold probably 80 paintings.
Wow.
And I gave quite a lot away as presents to friends because I thought it was a wonderful thing to do as well. Yeah. So it grew as a surprise, really. And I tried to become very professional. I could see artists were struggling on presentation, and I understood that you needed to have, well, an image is a bit of a big thing, but a logo. And my website designer worked with me already in 2013 to launch a really good cataloged website. I think that was the idea, but it takes a lot of thinking of how you present yourself. Do you want to know more?
I love
this practice.
I love what you explained, and I love learning more about your stories, actually, because although I feel like I have learned to know you in the past months, just knowing more about your story is really interesting, and how it is related to art therapy as well, and you starting to create art for yourself at the beginning, and not in relation to anyone else. At the beginning, it was for you. And what I also love is that you are saying that there are lots of combinations in your art practice. And what I find really interesting is that you create abstract paintings, right? And right away, I can see a combination, because although this is really abstract, there are so many patterns that come out and that that we can relate to, that are very close to nature. And yes. I mean, I can see so many things in your paintings behind you right now. So can you talk a little bit more about the combinations within your
my inspiration? Yes. Yeah. My inspiration is nature-based, but right. In the sense that I've traveled a lot and I carried on traveling a lot before the lockdown. And I've always been obsessed by trees and plants and leaf patterns, and Japan as a culture, for example.
We can feel the Japanese inspiration.
Exactly. This is what you see behind me, is that I have been, since I was a very small child, both my parents were very keen on exhibition. So I was at the age of 2, you know, going to exhibition. My father was a fan of Hokusai, and he was painting pastels as well when he retired. And I think this has seeped in the way the compositions are made, not as a copy, but as an inspiration. And then I make it more abstract, and I work with textures. So you do have obsession with Mount Fuji, which I think is so amazing as an iconic volcano. I have a whole series on volcanoes, and I combine it with ginkgo. Ginkgo is just, for me, fantastic. And the abstract work is still relatable to real things. So people are a bit puzzled with the two, because you're right, it's semi-figurative, it's not.
I mean, you're sharing so much value about what you create right now. And another combination that I can see is that you are a very strong person. And you're very, I love how powerful you are as a human being. And at the same time, that power, that strength, that also you're also connecting it to your tradition as well, and to the tradition of your parents and I think your grandparents were also artists.
Yes, my great grandfather.
Yeah, so I love how this strengths that you have in every action that you take. Or even it could be when it comes to painting, or when it comes to marketing and selling, there is always a lot of dedication in what you're doing, and a lot of focus. And so that's what I talk about when I talk about power. And I love how much that's related to your history and your family, and not only your family, but also the history of painting. And so I find this very beautiful.
I think if you are not passionate about what you do, at whatever degree, you might as well, you know, go and sell carrots in Sainsbury. It's the same for everything. And my whole life has been like that. When I was a teacher of Spanish or French as a foreign language, I put all my heart in it. And I think it transmitted some energy, some positive planning for my students. And I can see that still when I meet them by chance, you know, 10 years later. And I think when I paint with passion. People might not like what I produce. That's something else.
You can always feel the passion.
But I think I could not be anybody else. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And as much as I am so lucky that you are a member of the club, your students were 100% so lucky to have you as a teacher.
That's very kind of you.
So
but I'm also a very demanding person, which makes it difficult to work with.
Well, I get that. We have to be demanding when we are creative, when we are creating things, because I mean, we are creating it out of passion. So that goes with being demanding, I think. So definitely, I get that. So, okay, so I'm sorry because I'm getting on and on with talking about your practice, and because I love it, but I want to get on with my next question. So we're going to focus a little bit more with the aspect of selling. So I want to see a little bit of that balance between what is difficult and what is enjoyable when it comes to selling.
Yeah, so I've made a few notes.
Yeah, great, perfect.
The biggest struggle is delegating. You talked about it at great length, and I have struggled all the time. So the website designer, the posts that you format so that they look professional, the logos, the choice of color, the photographs of high res that you need to submit for galleries or platform of artists, that takes forever. So I have all sorts of people, including my husband, who is very, very patient and very techy, because you need this computerized which I am not patient with and I don't know enough. The cataloging of the photos,
Yes.
the rigorousness of your catalog with numbers, with your price catalog, the YouTube video we made during the lockdown where my son was involved. He did the music. We needed a storyline with somebody else. You know, that is just, and I keep asking during the platform where we exchange with other artists, where is the time for painting if you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So that would be the biggest struggle. All of these actions that are not painting, and that that take so much. So when we have a struggle, even if we haven't found a solution yet, we might be thinking about potential solutions. To
all the time.
struggle. Yeah. So what would be solutions you have been thinking about?
For me, it's the planning. It's planning ahead. So I will go into Curate a Space, for example, which is a website where galleries in Eastbourne, for example, advertise for artists. It takes forever to write a submission with a new bio, with a new this. So you've got to look at deadline, and I have 3 calendars.
Wow,
and, you know,
that's a lot of calendars.
This is one of them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, with lists of deadlines, lists of emails that are super important, with flagged with red. You're in orange because that's your logo for the Artist Entrepreneur Club.
I love that.
And it is, if you are not rigorously methodical, the weeks pass by and you miss opportunities as well.
It's crazy when you have so many plans, when you have so many things that you want to achieve, and you have so many actions, weeks go by like that.
Yes.
They disappear.
We're end of March, we're the 30th of March, and
Where has it gone?
But what's good is also to commit for certain things and to choose and reflect. I think you talked about that in quite a lot of your talks and your invited people on the platform, and other artists think the same. You have to stop and you have to decide and make lists, and I do that quite often, and take out all the things that I thought was important, which actually isn't, and leave it out and choose which submission for which exhibition you're going to really put your energy into it. And sometimes it's a connection from 3 years ago or 6 years ago that suddenly pops up, and you're thinking, oh, it wasn't great then, you know, either do it or not. But
okay, I'm going to use that sentence, either do it or not.
Yes. And no dithering. No, I don't procrastinate. I'm like a tractor when I decide to do something. But you have to, and that's quite difficult as a single lonely artist, to decide what is worth doing, what is not.
Yes. Sometimes having so many plans, so many goals actually is, and not prioritizing, because the reason we don't sometimes we don't prioritize, is that we're worried about not achieving all of our goals. But by not prioritizing, actually, we are going to procrastinate on some things, and the feeling of procrastinating and not achieving things is even more frustrating than prioritizing and not getting all of the things done, but getting some things done. So I completely agree with you.
And the question you ask all the time, and the aim of the club, is to sell online. And it's the first time since I'm on your platform and your club, that someone has seen my posts recently, my reels, my exhibition coming up. They saw my artwork 3 years ago in a restaurant. They want to now come, because of the online campaign, and they are interested in one of my very large paintings.
Yes, I love that. Well done.
I wanted to share with you because this is the first time I get somebody from the past who love the painting, and people take years to decide.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So this is the online selling, but the method is very long, and that is where the question of the visibility of what you're doing, that you talk about all the time.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that win. I love this. Like, what a success. This is so exciting.
I'll keep you posted.
Yes.
If the sale eventually takes place. But
when do they come in, you know?
Sorry?
When are they coming in?
I don't know yet. I don't know yet. They're going to another exhibition of mine starting this weekend.
In April, yes, amazing.
Connecting things and bringing people along. And I'm using your online technique to bring art lovers to my local exhibition, then the open studio. And that's the way to go.
Oh, I love that. Making me feel so excited. And the reason it's making me feel so excited is that this works for you. It wouldn't work for everyone else. And I remember that when you came in the club, you didn't want to do all online.
No.
That was working for, you were saying, well, when I used to see people in real life, then that was working.
Yes.
Then I could sell directly to them. And so together we talked about how you can make this possible and how you can use the online space.
Absolutely.
In order to bring people in real life. So that's
they need to see it for real. Because of the largeness, because of the texture, because they need to live with it. And it's not, and some of them are more expensive than others. They're still affordable prices. But I explained this to you, you understood it perfectly. Yes, yes.
Oh, that makes me the happiest. Thank you for sharing this.
It's your hard work and the way we've all exchanged advice.
Well, okay, all right, but also it's your hard work that you were open to listening to it, and you were open to put the work in and go ahead and do it.
And do reels.
Yes, the reels.
And to show your face and to talk.
Yeah. Do you know I'm doing a boot camp on my end. I'm doing a 90 days bootcamp for reels. So I'm going to do 1 reel per day for 90 days. Yes.
That's very
but actually I'm getting more ideas now that I'm committing, because I'm like, okay, what can I do now? And I'm becoming a little bit more original with my reels. So that's actually a good thing. So, okay, so thank you for answering this first question. My next question is, what do you find the most enjoyable when it comes to selling your artworks?
I think it's I don't enjoy doing reels. I think it's funny. And of course, I'm a bit of an actress because I was in front of classes all my life. Okay, we get that. But I don't really want to sell my persona in my painting.
Yes.
I think there's something, and it's not a question of modesty or shyness at all. I don't want to say too much personal things.
Yeah.
And I found my favorite aspect online is perhaps to catch the curiosity of the art lovers with the pigments, or I thought it was interesting to film when I'm doing something. So it's not me, it's what I produce, which I like to exploit a lot more. And the video that we made on my YouTube channel is about that, explaining my inspiration, because I think people want to know that. But it's not really me.
It's focusing on the artwork. You're present as the artist, but highlighting the artwork.
That's right. Really. So I enjoy that. And I always think in a painting how we could focus with the camera. If I had the cameraman here, I would do you a reel a day for each painting.
Your reels are so professional. Anything you do, it looks so professional. I am if I am the queen of something, it's like being not looking professional. Because if I had to look professional, then I wouldn't do. I wouldn't take action, because that would make me procrastinate actually. But for you, it
I
works.
just go first take, first interview, first take, boom.
But you know what to do then, because it looks really good. It always looks really, really professional. You know exactly what you want, I think.
Yes.
Before you start filming or.
Yes, I do. And I want to do it the first time spontaneously. And it's the same as everything in life. That's where you make mistakes as well. But Gabriela, you are very professional on the club. It's extremely thought out. You search people for talks who are amazing. Everything is planned ahead, and I really, really take out a lot of homework. I have pages of homework from last week.
I'm sorry, Sandra. So sorry. All right. So I really appreciate all of the lessons. That's really, really insightful. On those 3 points. First, what your practice is about and what you are about as well, and your story. I learned so much about you today, so I really enjoyed that. And then what your struggle is, but also what you enjoy when it comes to selling art online. So thank you for sharing all of this.
Pleasure.
Where can we find you online if we want to learn more about you?
In my YouTube channel, Sandra Menant.
Right.
Yes, wonderful. And my website has got pages with interviews. It's got 2 interviews. It's got something about my biography and my great-great-grandfather in Paris, and quite personal stuff that I had a journalist saying we needed this so that I look a real person, you know, that I am a real person.
Yes. So your YouTube channel is Sandra Menant?
Yes.
And your website is?
sandramenant.com.
Great, that's simple. That's really good.
Menant.
So thank you so much, Sandra. So
it was a pleasure.
I hope you have a great day. Thank you for sharing all of this.
Thank you very much, and I'll see you very soon on the platform.